Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about the elusive Stephania erecta. Not much is really known about this plant, except that they come from Thailand, from really sparse forests. Locals use them for their medicinal properties, for body aches and such, and they're also known to be edible. I don't recommend for you guys to eat these, but they're quite hard to come by lately because the demand has gone up so much. And apparently they can only be propagated from seeds, although I did try to propagate some of the cuttings in water, and a bulb or a caudex rather formed in the bottom with some roots. Unfortunately, I neglected that cutting and it died off when I transitioned it into soil. Most of these are propagated by seeds and they're very, very hard to come by. If you're new to houseplants, I don't recommend for you guys to get one of these because they're so easy to kill and then they're not as easily replaceable. It's just quite scary to see that they're taken from their native habitats into our homes and they just die in large scale. So these guys are really known for their beautiful caudex, which is this potato-like thing here, and they will put out these really beautiful leaves, vine with round leaves. Of course, I'm going to put some images on the screen so you guys know what it looks like. And the reason why I'm filming this video is because, hang on, let me give you a little bit of timeline. So I got this plant in 15 months ago from Thailand, and I got it as a caudex, and then I brought it back. I gave it some warmth, I gave it some watering. Be careful not to overwater them. I give them terracotta pot and a very fast draining general purpose potting mix, and then I just kind of spritz it every 2 to 3 days and give it, again, keep it a little bit humid. In about 5 to 6 weeks, it started sprouting these really beautiful vines. It took about 2 months for it to completely sprout. And then, of course, there's not much known about these plants online, so I didn't know how to care for it. But I knew that they cannot be overwatered because they can rot easily. So I kind of underwatered it for about 6 months, where the vines are beautiful. I did give it a trellis too, and again, the images are going to be up on screen. And then the caudex here actually shriveled into a really small, I don't know, it looks like a prune or like a dried prune basically. And I just knew that it was underwater, so I gave it more watering. I also gave it a little bit more light. I started putting it outside where it gets morning direct sunlight, and it thrived. It put out a little bit more leaves, but finally it just slowly started to die off. The leaves started to fall off, and I just knew that, okay, this plant is probably going into dormancy, because I did get them as a caudex, which is going to suggest that these plants do go into dormancy. So if you have Stephania erectas or other types of Stephanias, because there are so many different varieties of them, don't throw them away. Sometimes they're just asleep. So what happened is that I just cut back whatever the vines that were just dying off, and then I just waited. So I left it to dry for about, not completely dry, I would say like I water it every 2 weeks or so, like just spritzing it. And then after about 5 months, I started to increase the watering a little bit more and more. And actually now I water it almost every day, where I just slightly spray it down a little bit, not until the soil is soggy wet, basically just to cover the bulb with water, and maybe some of the water may trickle to the bottom of the bulb because that's where the roots are, so it can uptake some nutrients. And finally, about a week ago, I started to see some growth here. So it is going to be putting out new leaves here, which I'm going to be document over the next few weeks or months. I'm going to show you how they do that. But yeah, that is exactly how you bring these guys back from dormancy, is that you start to give it water, humidity, and a little bit of warmth in case you live in winter climates. Yeah, these are not easy plants to keep. Again, do not overwater them. They do like a little bit of bright light, but not full sun. Do fertilize them lightly, and I haven't had any pest issues, although I do know that this caudex type of plants, they may have a lot of pests, especially on the underside of the roots. I would definitely treat this, every few months with pesticides, whether you use natural or chemical means, because you don't really want to lift this up. I don't even want to do it with this one because I knew that there's some roots down there, so you can't really check for the pests. So just treat them regardless. And yeah, these are quite enjoyable to have, and they can get enormous, just so you know. And yeah, hopefully this time around, when I get it to come back to life, I will know how to take care of it, and I can get bigger and bigger caudex from this. So this is what the Stephania sprouted. Very beautiful vine here. It is still continuing to put out new growth here. Let me see, is that pest? I want to make sure. Nope, it's just water droplets. But it's going to continue putting out growth. If you can see here, it's going to vine around. This is living here. Let me show you where I have it. And I water it lightly every day when I hose down my plants. And it gets really good direct sunlight. So the sun actually moves that way, and this is actually the what is this? The southern exposure, which means that the sun is going to be much stronger here during December, which means I may have to put some kind of shade cloth in my back nursery area here. But yeah, meanwhile it's enjoying a few hours of direct sunlight every day, and it's doing really well. I have really bad news. Look at that. And I also hose this area down because it's with some caladiums, they don't want to dry out. I hose it down and then I overwatered it. Look at that. So I kind of kicked it out in the rain. It got rained on every day. And I was actually thinking that it might rot. But look at that. It's put out 3 vines. It used to only put out 1 at a time. So I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe it stored up enough energy to push out so many vines, but I'm gonna keep you guys updated. All right, so it's actually been 1 month since our last update. So I guess I'm doing things right. It's put out a vine that split into 2. I don't know if you can see here. Split into 2 vines here. This one yellow leaf is yellowing, which I'm a little bit worried for because this is a new vine. It should not have yellowing leaves, but this gets wet all the time. It gets rained on every day, so I'm a little bit worried that it might be a bit overwatered. But I guess these guys, they do like to dry out, but not for too long because they did sprout during the rainy season. And if you look closely, look at there's 2 more vines that are appearing. I don't know if you can see very well from here. There are 2 baby vines right there, smack in the middle of the screen. That's gonna sprout leaves. If you keep them happy, I mean, keep them well watered, you don't miss watering, but you don't overwater it, maybe they don't go dormant in that situation, I guess. Yeah, do comment down below if you know better. I just basically use bonsai wire. I think it's 3 millimeters, but it's very pliable, so I can actually ply them to shape. And then I just wanna very gently trellis this up. Yeah, they're still growing, like these little leaves, they're still sprouting. So what I want to do is, I'm not going to end this video here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep growing these out. And I completely neglected this plant. It was sitting in rain every day, so the leaves turned yellow and fell off one by one, but I just let it be because I have too much things to do. But it's still doing okay. It's got a firm bulb, and I actually noticed one thing. The bulb here has probably maxed out. If you look from all corners, it's grown into the pot, like into the size of the pot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably have to raise this higher up so that it's completely on top of the surface, so that it's got room to grow in the next season. And I'm so sorry I did not manage to get the cuttings from these before they died off, but someone did send me photos on Instagram to show me that theirs actually rooted. So if you take single node cuttings with a leaf with the main stem, you put it in water, you could have the little bulbs, you could have roots and the leaves hanging on. So this is how you can propagate them in water. I regretfully have not been able to show you that process because I've just been overwhelmed by too many things, but mark my words, that is how you can grow them. And these guys do go dormant. As you can see, I've shown you a few dormant seasons, so let them rest. I'm gonna let this one rest for a bit. I'm gonna not water it as often, maybe once a week, and then yeah, I'll try to kick it out in the rain again to let it sprout. Ooh, and in case you guys were wondering what the underside looks like, there's not a lot of roots actually on these guys. They don't really anchor well into the soil. I don't know if this is normal or if this is a problem, so feel free to comment down below. But I've noticed that they don't really have a robust root system. They don't need a huge deep pot. But I'm gonna set it in a new pot kind of like this, so that it can turn big next time around. All right. Now here's a final update. This plant sprouted as I moved into my new home. It put out a tiny little bud, I think 2 weeks ago, and it expanded into this. It's not very big, but it's beautiful. Look at how nice that is. This has increased a little bit in size. I remember we moved it up a little bit. I think I do need to water this quite a bit more. I do water this once a day. I spray this portion and then let the water trickle down to where the roots are. And I have a feeling I probably should start fertilizing it a little bit. I haven't been fertilizing this. I know I'm a little bit behind on my plant care ever since I was moving. I haven't fertilized any of my houseplants in about 3 to 4 months. So a lot of them are kind of they're just getting by basically. So this needs a bit of fertilizing and then better care. It's getting very good light now though. It's living upstairs in my ICU unit on the balcony. I'm moving it out here because I'm filming and I'm editing this video now. So yeah, this is the journey. It's gonna continue. I will probably keep updating on my Instagram, and maybe I might even do a second video once I can figure out how to propagate some of these vines in water. Meanwhile, I hope that your plants are doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to comment down below if you know how to care for this better, all right? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.